But anyway, sir, let us get on with the main event. A special main event, especially
Special.
brought on by today's date. You want to tell everybody what today is, sir?
Today is the 45th anniversary of the Heroin Busters, also known as La Via de la Droga.
Today, August 13th, 1977, this movie was released. And it is the third and final movie, at least, for the time being of this series. Volume one. You know what? I like these. He says volume one because, we'll come back to this, which we
Yeah.
should. Um, but our third feature of Mr. Fabio Testi. This man, okay, set the stage for me, all right? Because I need to know. I've got it mixed up in my head. Of the three movies we watch, did we watch them in order of their release or no?
We kind of went backwards.
Okay.
Um, Unintentionally, I went second most. Well, I don't know. Contraband might be the most violent. To interchangeably second most violent, and then I capped everything off with the safe bet.
Mm.
But we kind of went reverse order because I think Big Racket was also 1977, or it might have been 1976, and or no, it was 76. So we kind of went most recent, oldest, middle child. There we go.
So it went Big Racket, uh,
Heroin
Heroin
Busters,
Busters, then Contraband.
Contraband. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I'd have to say, I think this was the more action packed movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot I liked. This was a damn good movie. Um I'd say out of the three, which is it's crazy because I really really liked Contraband. It's not saying anything bad about Contraband, but I it's a toss up between The Big Racket and this. The only thing that Contraband kind of holds over it is again, as odd as it may sound, that the choice of color and the look of everything. That those blues and grays, for some reason, they're just like I like it on the eyes. The Big Racket can be a little harsh because they have this blur effect on some reds and oranges, which are a little harsh. But the movie's harsh, so it's supposed to be that way.
That Big Racket is really fucking harsh.
um, but this one, first off, the main thing that I noticed was the music. I loved the music. It was very, very like the. It reminded me of John Frusciante, and I'm like, it's very fitting for a heroin movie.
The movie lets
That,
you know it's a heroin movie in the first 5 seconds too.
and that's not a dig at John Frusciante either. I think he's an amazing guitarist. I'm not making fun of the man, but he clearly has a long history with heroin. um, but no, the music was fucking awesome and fitting. There was a lot going on that I really liked. This was definitely Fabio's most. I think this is the most active I've seen him. Like he has action moments in the other movies, but uh, let's go down his because I only caught like the last like 20-30 minutes of this on Wednesday. So like this today was my first like full watch. I was kind of surprised that the outfit that I saw him in was what he wears pretty much throughout the whole fucking movie. Um, there's like, okay, Mr. Testy, we're gonna cover you head to toe in fucking jeans,
Yep.
okay? And he's like, okay. And then we're gonna rock you out with some fucking Uggs, some very pretty lady Uggs, and then we're gonna give you this very colorful scarf as like a waist belt. Um, we had a hard time getting this jacket, but my friend Matt lent it to me.
I didn't quite get why Matt was written on the front and then another name, or Matt was written on the back and another name was written on the front.
Oh yeah, there's a lot written on there, and and then of course, most importantly, let's not forget your Apollo hat that you constantly mistaken as a badge.
As a badge or as a Vietnam veteran hat, because I had both things happen while I was watching the movie, and I did find the hat.
Uh,
It cost €35 though, and I don't know if I'm willing to throw out the funds for that. But yeah, it is the first Conquest of Space Apollo mission hat, which is kind of badass. I'm not gonna lie. We like some space around here.
but I liked the look of this one. I really wish that they would have stuck in that giant boat village in the beginning that I pointed out. That looked so cool to me. Like that's where you need to have a chase scene where you're running boat to boat, jumping and swinging off shit. That's where that needed to fucking happen. Um, Apparently they still keep drugs and crab traps. They did that in the Big Racket.
I want to Google that to be sure, but I also don't want to end up on a watch list. So
I mean, it works out either way because it's like A, it's good hiding, and B, even if like the crabs eat your stash, you sell those crabs, people are gonna eat it and they're gonna be like, I need something. I don't know what it is, but I got a Jonesin. You just got new clientele. You're like, I will sell you crab and heroin.
what is it? This is our black tar crabs.
Yes.
Ah.
But so set the stage here because like this one I feel I didn't have as much trouble understanding this one as of the other two. Not to say that I had trouble understanding those ones, but like I said, like I got the general gist. This one I feel a little bit more that's restaurant in the boardwalk. What are you talking about? We've been doing that in the bayou for years.
For years.
You be talking about them meth crabs? Crank crab. There you go. Crank crab. What? So essentially, this dude was he a drug dealer to begin with, or was he a cop to begin with? Because at first it seems like he was a drug dealer, and that they decided to use him. But then I'm like, wait, he might actually be a cop. What's going on here?
He's a cop. He's a cop whose name is Fabio, as in Fabio Testi, because they got a little. There's actually two characters. Our Freddie Mercury guy from 1990 Bronx Warriors. His name is Massimo. I think last name starts with a V, but in this, he's also Massimo. He is a cop. It doesn't exactly establish it because the first time you see David Hemmings and him together, it makes it seem like because he says, "No, don't arrest him. You need to see where he's going."
Yeah.
It makes it seem like he doesn't know who he is. But I forgot when he says that, there's another guy standing in front of him. So he's playing into the undercover part of it. So Fabio is deep. I like that, by the way. I don't have to pretend like I don't know the character's name. That is the character's name. Fabio is deep cover on this heroin racket from New York and was it Hong Kong?
Yeah, it looks like that, yeah.
So in that awesome montage at the beginning, which you're not kidding
three
about
different
the boat
music
thing.
scenes.
And they all rocked, man. And we got our Enzo Castellari cameo out of the way at the beginning too. He's made an appearance in both of his movies, and Lucio Fulci made his. So we got our cameos out of the way.
Because I was gonna say, because I was curious if he was a cop or not, because you mentioned that scene in the airport where he was just like, "Wait, we got to see where he goes." You know, I was like, "This is either the dumbest criminal or a cop who's just like, I'm undercover. They know not to fucking bust me." Because I'm like, you just gonna walk up to security with your shit like that? That's a rookie move. I'm like, one, you gotta bypass the airport all around. Like, you gotta go postal with that shit and just place your bets. Or if you absolutely have to take that shit on the plane with you, you got to tape it to your sack. Something like that. Um, because this is obviously before they had the fucking machines. Um, but yeah, I when he got busted, I was just like, what a dumbass. Like it was the only time I was like, this scene was not. They didn't run this by Testy. They were just like, we're just gonna film it, and then afterwards he was just like, wait a minute, that made me look stupid. And they're like, moving on, moving on.
Yes, Sparrow,
Yeah,
2.2-pound testes because he's all testy.
yeah. um. Now, there was another scene early on where there was like a kind of like a sting operation going on at like a hotel or something like that.
Yep.
Was it just me, or like I was watching it and I was like, I'm being a little reminded of the Beastie Boys video for Sabotage. That was like a whole like cop sting thing at like a hotel.
The soundtrack would have fit there too.
Yeah, after seeing that song used in that Star Trek movie, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Eh.
I mean, you're right, but I don't think it should be done.
No. Respect the drip, as they say for them.
Mm.
Yeah. It. So that was supposed to be one of the suppliers that was bringing it in for our other guy from 1990, Bronx Warriors, who was also in Big Racket. They were supposed to bust them because then they could get rid of the supply chain, and that was the motivation of it.
I was gonna ask if the Bronx Warrior people were involved with this, just because a lot of the places that they had scenes in, especially like that like construction building or that building that was like not all the way done or whatever. There's just a lot of scenes where I'm like, this looks like a set from the Bronx Warrior. Like quite honestly.
I mean, it was Enzo Castellari, so I mean, and they did reuse a lot of the actors, and rather than filming on location in the Bronx in this one, it would have made sense because they were in Italy. They did use the Poly Studio in Rome, and they used a couple of on location things. The construction set though, or I think it was actual construction site. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. The thing that kept being weird though was I'm like when anytime he was running around on what was clearly cement, I'm like, why does it sound like he's running on hardwood floors in cowboy boots with that loud reverb sound?
I I know how cowboy boots sound on concrete because I wear them on concrete sometimes. Uh, yeah, Foley guy kind of mailed that one in that day. It was just like, I won't fucking notice. The audio's already out of sync anyway. Who gives a shit?
One thing I didn't put it in the chat when we were watching it, but I did think it was funny. Maybe like so there was that one character that I was like, oh shit, fucking Tommy Chong from Color Space is in this too. Fucking stoner shaman. After the initial scene where we see him, and I think when he ends that's when he like throws his little scarf over and he's like, oh, walks off. But then like some shit happens, and then we see him again. That time when we saw him again, my wife walked by and she's like, how's the movie going? And she's like, that Tommy Chong? And I'm like, yes.
He'll forever be known as Tommy Chong or Shaman Chong.
Shaman Chong. Now who is this dude, this other cop guy, that the one that was just like, wait, we need to see where he goes, that guy, like who, it almost seems like him and Testy working together. It's like they can't let the criminals know and they can't let other cops know. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, I think because they do this in every movie, forgetting that Interpol doesn't exactly have policing power. They're Interpol agents, so they don't necessarily trust.
Okay, I didn't realize they were Interpol. Okay, that makes sense now.
They say they are in like one scene, and then but I think it's at a time where some exciting shit's going on, so you're not paying attention to what David Hemmings is saying, because that's how they do. Yeah, they're Interpol agents, so they're not trusting of the local authorities for good reason, apparently. But
What was funny though is so there's the scene towards the end where he's on the motorcycle with the lady. He cops a feel. Like when I saw that on Wednesday, I'm like, I'm pretty much every scene I'm seeing is out of context. It's just eye candy, and I was just like, that was really the scene in and of itself was just goofy and funny. Now having watched the whole movie and seen who that character is throughout the whole movie, and I'm like, it was really fucking weird and out of character for him.
yeah,
like that probably was something that should have been on the gag reel, but they were just like, fuck it, put it in the movie. It's funny. We'll piss off his wife. He was a dick to work with. Like, dude, imagine if he was a dick to work with and they were like, put that in the film because I want to be there at the premiere when he's there with his wife.
was David Hemmings married at this time? I gotta know. Well, it was kind of a I don't know how to really to describe it. Oh, well, he was married at that time to his third wife, so
Head canon is the best canon.
it works out, I guess. He was a sex symbol in Italy at that point, though. Even though it kind of teetered out, I think, but. So that was more. I think that was more eye candy for the Italian audience. It's like, oh, it's our David Hemmings, and you just copped a feel on that girl. I wish I was that woman who gave him a ride.
Yeah, because the way that it was set up, like the woman was like flattered. like she won. Like they put out a contest for women to like win that role to have that happen.
I knowing how Italian productions go. Kind of like how their stunt men do. Fred Williamson talked about that in a Bronx Warriors interview. He was like, the Italian stuntmen are fucking crazy. He'd be like, the stuntman would come over and be like, yeah, I'm gonna jump off this building here and land in this little sand pit and run off. And Fred's like, okay, cool. So where do I need to stand? And then he said the guy just jumped off and did it and was like, do you need me to do it again just so you know? And he was like, Jesus, these are a completely different brand of people. I wouldn't doubt it in the least if on the set that day it was like, okay, who's a at least somewhat attractive woman on set? Who doesn't mind David Hemmings copping a feel? All right, you come on, and that was all it was. I do not doubt that in the least, just from behind the scenes shit I've seen on Italian movies, and it is like. They talked about it in the Contamination interview with Luigi Cozzi too, where he was like, we'll laugh about it now. He was holistically misogynistic towards the lead actress. Like, he wanted Caroline Munro because he wanted someone prettier, and said that about his actress. That's not good. It's but that was kind of how the filmmaking attitude was then, and I could totally see that happening there. for a throwaway scene. It's not even, if you take that out, other than him getting on the bike with her, just to know that that's how he got where he went, you lose nothing in the movie. It's just there.
So now there's two other characters I want to talk about. We got our fucking this dude looked like a combination from I don't know what it's fucking from, but you know that one fucking GIF meme where it's just like it's that fucking outdoorsy guy and he's just like, you know what
Robert
I'm talking
Redford?
about? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the heroin junkie dude, and he kind of looks like that mixed with fucking Meathead from All in the Family.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But I understand that the movie's about heroin, so you need to have a junkie that you follow along. I'm trying to figure out this man's story. Like, I get that he got fucking set up and fucked over and the shit kicked out of him, put in jail. That's how he meets fucking Testy. Now, after that, and the whole getting out of jail thing, which was fucking great, that he had all of the supplies that he needed in the heel of his boot or his UGG. He had a hidden UGG compartment in the heel. But so I saw that establishing scene with our junkie dude. Now we had the other scene where it was the girl in the bed and the grandma, I guess, or the mom was taking care of her, and the one fucking dude came by and gave her a fucking 2-piece and a biscuit, and fucking, fucking got to stepping. But were they always together, or did they like meet each other throughout the course of the film? Because I'm like, how did these two? Because she's the one that was like with the other chick, and she's like, I've got money, and he's like, all right, let's go see. We don't have all day.
No, that wasn't her. That was a separate. That was a separate woman.
Separate woman. Okay.
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 Because his girlfriend was the chick from Dr. Butcher, M.D. that gets her vocal cords cut out.
Okay.
That was a different
man, I
character.
forgot all about that shit.
Yes. The girl with the grandma, that was just there to establish that the drug dealers were out collecting money, because then in the next scene you got the other drug dealer who went to the dude in the bathroom that licked the toilet seat.
Oh yeah.
Which so yeah, they were two different characters, and oddly enough, I mean, I rag on Italian plots for kind of being too perfect. It actually worked out very nice, because the junkie's girlfriend, prostitute, kind of gets Fabio in there with them at that point because of that, and you learn a little bit more. They actually character developed a little bit there. I was very in shock that happened, but you got a lot from that scene.
But it was just like, it was funny because I know that you had mentioned prior to watching this, you're like, this is gonna have one of those Requiem for a Dream scenes, and like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh shit, and I'm like, okay, and then I was watching what happened. I'm like, well, I mean, being in that situation, like that type of like junkie situation is never good, no matter what. But if you have to be in that situation, I'm like, he's having to pimp out his woman, that's fine. But it's the other hot women. And I'm like, I'm not seeing a flaw here.
Dead giveaway number 2.
Other than being a junkie.
Other than that. But this was dead giveaway number 2. This was an Italian movie, because the women were very attractive. And actually, his girlfriend, funny enough, isn't even Italian. She's from Mississippi.
The Mississippi.
So, I thought that, I was like, it's not exactly a Requiem for a Dream scene, because I didn't necessarily feel like I needed to scrub all of my skin off after watching it. But it was kind of it was somber though, because it kept cutting back to him sitting out on the steps while they were doing their thing, and Fabio is like talking to him because he said he wanted to talk to him, and I thought that's kind of deep for this kind of movie.
Yeah.
that they're showing that kind of emotion, but not just for the eye candy portion of it, because the other woman, she had it going on too. But it's not as emotional as I think as the Requiem for a Dream scene is, but maybe it is in its own weird sort of way, because it is very somber.
I find it humorous that, now again, I have stated numerous times on this show that I am an idiot when it comes to knowledge of other cultures. So anything that I say is to be taken with a grain of salt and as humor. But I do find it absolutely adorable that the Italians, at least involved in the making of this film, thought that a really, really hot, attractive lesbian woman had to stoop to going out and buying another attractive female lesbian prostitute in order to get some. they're
Maybe
like
that's her thing.
they're like that. That's how it works, right?
You know damn well Enzo Castellari had the Spice Channel on in there when he wrote that scene.
They're like, it's the only thing that makes sense. That's the only reason why they wouldn't want to sleep with me is because they have to go through all of that in order to be with a woman.
I
That's
mean,
very true. That's very true. That's
I
very true. You're right, Sparrow.
also that's a horror movie trope. I feel like that kink in particular is, but I don't think we're ready to go down.
Well,
this
it's
road yet.
it's a very well-serving kink to have for horror genre.
That's true because
Is yeah, it's always an easy go-to to lure somebody.
that's fair. Yeah. Okay. So we peeled back the layers a little bit there. Then this all checks out. Now I feel like though, because that woman seemed like she was of maybe that is her kink. Actually, maybe that's the full thing. It has to
She
be in a
seemed like
seedy,
she was like
rundown place.
she thought she seemed very upper class.
Affluent, if you will. She definitely did. I mean, she didn't.
She needed
She was in the
something
1%.
dirty. She needed something dirty.
And
She's
she said she'd be back next week.
yeah.
Oh,
Other character I want to mention is who was we were fucking talking about him before. Joshua Sinclair. As
always plays an Englishman.
Yes. You want to talk about like this dude is fucking baller. All right, like look, all I'm gonna say is, if I looked like that dude, I would not have gotten married, and I would have been surrounded by cocaine and all sorts of naked women. I would have been taking full advantage of that mustache and hair. Like it doesn't matter if it's 2022. You put bell bottoms on somebody like that, they'll fucking sell it. I'm like, this dude is the most handsomest fucking gentleman I've ever goddamn seen.
Besides having a perfect pencil thin mustache and done, it's not pencil thin. It had a little,
Yeah.
it had a little thickness to it.
It was definitely a hyphen.
Very good. He was
walking.
walking. Probable cause that this guy has cocaine.
Yeah.
The way he was dressed to a T, I was like, if you went to any concert, there would be a line of people following him to the bathroom.
Yeah, you just look at him and he's just walking probable cause with intent to sell.
Go ahead and put that asterisk on it, because with intent to sell needs to be in all caps, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's a hard intent right there. But yeah, no, just how he carries himself, fucking, like everything was great. Like he had all of his fucking goons were in fucking bell bottoms. We had more bell bottom jump kicks in this. It was great.
The hotel room scene had 2.
And then of course, now I think it's official. We joked around about it, but I do think it is official. We're gonna have a new term. This is the birth of a new term. I like this term. Now, like I said, in this film, I feel that Fabio Testi was the most active out of all 3 films in this. This is a dude who is very like I said, he stacks up with John McClane, fucking. Well, I know his name's Bruce Willis, but I wish his name was John McClane. It's John McClane in real life in my heart. But there's Arnie, fucking Stallone, fucking Eddie. Testi is definitely on that Mount Rushmore. or the Leaning Tower of Rushmore, however they do it in Italy. That's in Italy, right? Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay. I played my Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That got stolen a few times. Um um but in this movie, he executes what could only be described as the perfect flip. Like he dives out of a window, fucking rolls out. There's a couple flips that he does. Now, we have the Sparrow stunt named after good friend Sparrow here. And that's when somebody does the flame stunt, the flame suit, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
or just any real impressive fire stunt, really involving the
Ex-
body.
I count explosions too.
Um, but this they we're gonna the term will be a testy flip. Oh yeah, look, rickshaw. Rickshaw was our latest one. Was a very good open hand slap.
If it resonates, you might as well say plus 1.5 because
um, but the requirements to meet uh a testy flip are very high though, because at base, it already has to be a 10 out of 10 flip. Like it can't just be any flip. Like the flip already to even be remotely considered has to be a 10 out of 10. And then only then does it get critiqued. It could still be denied.
it goes to the board.
Yeah. So any very well executed flip that we see now will be a testy flip.
Now, did the makers of Siphon Filter watch this movie before they made the game? Because anybody who has played that game will tell you, do you know how you get out of danger? You press circle and hit the roll button and fucking go to it. When I saw that, I saw a little Gabe Logan in there. Just a tad.
Just a tad. But honestly though, like I'm trying to think of which I really liked Contraband. Like all three of these movies are fucking amazing. But like I said, I think at the end of the day, it's a toss up between the Big Racket and the Heroin Busters. I would say for some odd reason, I think the Big Racket has a little bit more humor, not intentional, but it has a little bit of more of a humor factor just because it has the crazy Clockwork Orange style to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no rehabilitation, thankfully. Like that always seems to be the go-to. Like whenever anybody's trying to spoof or pay homage to Clockwork Orange, it's always the rehab scene. You never just have people running around doing a bit of the old ultra violence. So I'm glad that they just decided to just keep it that route. Um, but then again, like I said, that's not a for every occasion movie. Because
No.
of that. um but Heroin Busters, other than I mean, unless you got like some aversion to like drug addiction stuff, which you know very reasonable to be that way.
Sure.
um I think this is your go-to one. I dug it. The music fucking solid, the acting was solid, everybody was fucking great. The wardrobe was questionable but interesting. Like I said, um I'd like to know who Matt is. Or if it's Mothers Against the Terrible Testy, like I said.
How could you be against that man? He's a saint. He is the
But,
Italian Steve McQueen.
well, like I said, they're trying to save their daughters, protect their daughters from falling for the testy.
That's true. That's true.
We have such a. But have you seen the naked flipping guy? And the oh shit, no.
I don't think I have either.
Um, but Yeah, I think Heroin Busters. All right, this is what I'm gonna have to do. This is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm going to go through all three movies again real quick.
Okay.
Contraband, I already gave a four. The four stands. The Big Racket, I gave a 3.5 only because I was going against the color palette and the like the many reasons I mentioned before with the Clockwork Orange shit. That might not be for everybody, but in hindsight, you know what? I'm bumping that up to a four as well. I'm bumping that up to a four. And then when it comes to the Heroin Busters, I mean, I think it's only obvious that we also just fucking go Yahtzee straight fours across the board because honestly, I could watch these at any given moment. You're just like, we're putting on some testy. I'm there. It doesn't matter what it is.
Three testes may not seem normal, but in Italian cinema it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
Mm-hmm.
made a promise to you, an unintentional theme that Contraband would be sea focused.
Mm-hmm.
Big Racket was land focused, and did this not deliver on the air?
That was the other thing I was reading. Apparently, Testy is a fucking pilot
He
and did his own shit. I just saw that and I was like, what the fuck? So that thing under the overpass bridge thing, he did that? Did he do that?
I don't know if he did that. I knew he was a pilot because I remember reading about it that he was basically they called him the Italian Harrison Ford. But maybe he did. I know he probably did the flip because that barrel roll was dope.
Yeah.
I
mean, that already like puts him in like contention with fucking Tom Cruise doing their own shit.
Yeah.
we needed a testy Cruise combo.
Now when I watch Top Gun Maverick, I'm gonna be like, look at the testes on this guy.
Yes. But all in all, yeah, I think that all three are straight fours. I enjoyed these. It's a much like I'm not gonna say that I got as high levels of enthusiasm as say a Phantasm. One very rarely often does. um but in the sense that I was like, where has the tall man been in all my whole life? I've had Freddy and Jason, but I'm like all this missed opportunity I could have had with the tall man. I feel that with Arnie and Stallone and John McClane, like I could have had all this time with Testy just as well.
There's no better time than the present. I will say that. But I kind of figured after I pre-screened that this was what it was going to be. That you were going to go fours across the board with it. Just not just because Fabio Testi is an incredible actor. Jokes aside, the guy's screen presence and his body language, his mannerisms, they're all grade A. I mean, the guy can act. But the fun component that he brings to something like the Heroin Busters that's ridiculous with his Ugg boots and his pink shirt and his Apollo moon landing cap. I mean, something really awesome about it. You might not get your tall man like you were saying, but you got your testy. And compared to the other action stars that you brought up there, though, he is in the greats, even though he's in the era of the Steve McQueen. He's the Italian Steve McQueen of that era, I feel, but he's in the talks for being in that Mount Rushmore with our Expendables guys. Which, again, like you said last week, where the fuck is Testy at in the next Expendables movie? We need that.
And I was saying, even take it a step further, make him the villain.
Yeah, go full Once Upon a Time in the West with it with Fonda. I would be if that handsome devil shows up on screen and he turns out to be the worst fucking person in the world, I'm still gonna go watch it because I know he's gonna bring the heat to that role.
Even let me see here. Mm, mm.
Also, I
Oh
gotta trim my
yeah.
mustache, dude. I cannot stop itching.
I was gonna say, like, I know that he was he's obviously still alive, but I was wondering if he was still doing stuff. Oh yeah, he's got once filming, pre-production, announced. Yeah, this dude's been he stays busy. He
That's
stays
good.
busy.
Not a lot of Italian stuff gets out. That Netflix movie got out. The classic horror story or whatever it was called. Um, Rogero Deodato did Ballad of Blood in 2015. Uh, but you don't really hear a lot of the actors either. And that's kind of cool that he's still keeping it going because if you look him up on Prime, and go to his filmography, they've got almost his entire collection on there. Some of it you have to rent, but they have it.
I'm hoping uh interesting. Okay, so the two top things that are like either pre-production or announced on his IMDb. One is called Safari Island, and he plays a character called Fabio Neri. And it doesn't have a synopsis or anything. It only has the tagline, "There is no prey like human prey."
Most dangerous game.
Yep. And then this other one just titled, oh yes. Um this other one is called The Fourth Horseman. And let me see here. It's an action western. Action western. Doesn't have any thing other than that. Does it have a tagline? No tagline. But in that one, he will be playing a character called Fabian. So interesting.
I'll be
Interesting.
I'll be down for that. Also, since you brought up westerns, um, last call exclusive. You can get the early info.
Scoop.
Not tomorrow, but the following Sunday. I think we're gonna do our Fright Fest Theater last call. East meets West, if you will. Um, Marathon of the Man with No Name trilogy, the original Django. Yes, the Franco Nero Django, and Django Prepare a Coffin. And we might throw in the fourth Sergio Leone movie people forget, also known as Duck You Sucker or A Fistful of Dynamite. We'll see we'll see how the Sunday takes us. But high noon on Sunday the 21st.
I immediately, for some reason, just, well, I know why, but when you were saying that, I thought you were going to talk about the Wayans brothers. I'm going to get you, sucker.
That movie may come up again. We'll see. But
Yeah.
now that you've told me about that, I'm going to be on the lookout for some Fabio Testi movies, and I'm going to see what I can dig up. And even if we don't review them for the show,
Just to watch them.
just fucking watch them, like we're going to do with the Western movies that Sparrow is going to miss, and that makes me sad. Sparrow, when you get back, let us know, because I can go ahead and tell you I have no problem rewatching, in particular for a few dollars more. I think it's the best of the trilogy, because I like Lee Van Cleef as the Man in Black. But we'll rewatch a couple of those, or maybe all of them. Who knows? When you come back.
But also, I guess I was on the fence if I was going to announce it or not. Might as well. Since
Yeah,
we
I didn't know if
finished
you
up,
were or not.
yeah. Since we finished up our volume 1 of the Years of Lead, I'm gonna take the reins. Fuck it. We with our updated model here and being able to make better clips and stuff. Let's do both. Let's do both. It'd be fun. We're gonna do a little back to school theme. Little back to school theme for the next two shows. Um, I'd like to do, like I said, I can't remember. We might have done a show about it. You're right, but I really feel maybe we just did like a brief discussion. I know we showed it, but let's do Class of '84. Class of '84, because I really, really like them. I still need to get the poster for that. I love the fucking poster of that. I want to get a framed one of that. Um, Jennifer's body. um, but then after that, not a movie that I don't think would traditionally show up, but a movie I feel that we should watch, and is the quintessential, I feel, back to school movie. And if you're lucky, there might be a little something special on that show as well. But I'm thinking we should talk some Dangerous Minds.
It may not seem like something we would normally do, but I will bend the rules on underappreciated cinema because I do think it qualifies.
Yes. Then, it's like I really feel like you know, I don't really feel like I get to talk about Michelle Pfeiffer enough.
I really don't.
You don't. Oh, the Coolio vehicle. But I like Coolio. I liked Coolio before that movie. All right, to be fair. Well before that movie. Well before that movie, I liked Coolio.
Coolio
It
is
was
Coolio.
Coolio, yeah. So
Oh, she
yeah,
was a good Catwoman.
it. I go back and forth on that movie only like because of a Batman perspective, but not even consider. That's a different argument. But just her in that role, just the way it was done was fucking great. Danny DeVito was just being Danny DeVito, but Michelle Pfeiffer was really doing something special. Tim Burton took some acid and like stared at a photo of Danny DeVito, and he's like, "I've got an idea."
He's not invited back to the writer's room after that one. Don kicked him out.
Oh yeah, he was. It's such a weird Batman 2, or well, Batman Returns. That's what it is. It's such a fucking weird movie. It's not a bad movie. I'm not. It's nowhere near the vicinity of a bad movie. It's just a weird movie.
It is. It's one I need to revisit too because out of all of the Batman movies, I've seen it and Batman and Robin the least.
You're not missing much on Batman and Robin. I mean, I think that's the one that I've watched the most recent. I watched that in Michigan with the wife because I don't think she had seen it, and I was like, "You got to see the bat nipples." Arnie is fucking freeze is always great. They fuck up Bane though. I really don't like what they do with Bane, but they had to do something with Poison Ivy. It's fucking weird, but no, it is what it is.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
for sure. Yeah, and
Although
a cheesy. Yeah.
I prefer Batman. That's Batman Forever is the one I've seen the most. I actually prefer it because that Seal song.
Oh, Sparrow for sure. Yeah, yeah. I I I am very 50-50 with Tim Burton. I don't like Tim Burton as a person, but and a lot of the things that he makes, I think I'm like, it's fucking overrated. But that's just a personal thing. There are
Mm,
some things though that I can't deny. So like I said, it's 50-50.
yeah.
Um, but I do overall really liked his depiction of Gotham as a city overall. I think that that was something that's very unique and has its own look that just has not been replicated. Like there have been people that have tried to take that look and make it a more serious approach, but it still doesn't even come close.
Cl- Closest thing, and I'm gonna bring it up for probably the 6th week in a row. Batman the Animated Series. It has that. It's not quite as Tim Burton-y, but it has that dark quality to it.
That's that thing, man, about Warner Brothers, man. They fucking I shake my head at them so much, but their goddamn animation department, God tier. I don't know why that's the only department that's like
Because that's where they threw all the nerds at, and the nerds did the job right.
True. That's true. Can't argue that.